Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work on your eye. So what you need to understand is that if you understand the muscle structure and the bones underneath the eye, you'll actually get the shading in the correct place. So what I'm going to have you start out with is a kind of like a small oval. Now this is your visual that you're looking at. I'm going to make mine just a little smaller than that. So this is the actual bone part of your eye. This is where this kind of sits in, right in here. Okay, so that your cornea is an actual sphere, so that sits inside the bone of your eye. So it's kind of how where your shading is going to end up. So once I get that in there, now I can kind of see where my skin sits and draw this outline here. I'm using an H pencil, which is super, super light. You shouldn't be pressing down on it at all. Just let the pencil do its work. If you look here, this is an actual water line, and that's where your eyelashes come out of. It's kind of where your bone is. So I'm actually using that as a guide. And I'm just drawing the basic shape. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get my tear duct in here. Okay, and then my eyelid actually sits on top of that bone structure as well. It kind of helps me get my spot. And take an eraser and kind of lift that out a little bit. First thing I want you to do is go ahead and get your iris in. The iris is the colored part of your eye that has the texture to it. So we're going to put that in there. Right now, all I'm doing is drawing contour. When you get your pupil in there, I would definitely put in any highlights you see. So I see one here. If you're drawing from a photo and your eye is really, really dark, you might have to actually look at a mirror and kind of look at some of the textures that your iris creates. So we want to make sure that you're getting in those highlights, okay? Your eyebrow actually comes up, and your eyebrow sits on the top of this, of your bone structure. So if this is your bone structure here, your eyebrow actually sits on top of that bone structure, okay? So this is a good contour line to start. I'm going to go ahead and start shading, and I'm actually using my H pencil. I'm going to see how sharp that pencil is. Keep it sharp as you go, and then you're lifting out. This part always has a shadow, okay? Your cornea is sitting inside of your skin, and so your cornea always has a cast shadow from your eyelid. So I always like to put that in next. And this is working really well because my pencil is super, super sharp, so I'm able to make my drawing very, very smooth. Do not press with that H. If you need to get darker, then we're going to end up switching pencils. So it's just the starter. Okay, the other thing I'm going to show you is you have this water line here. This is the actual thickness of your skin. And so we're going to actually put a shadow or part of a shading right here so that we can leave your water line. We're going to leave it paper white for now. I'm holding my pencil up at the top and not close to here. That is helping me keep it light. The other thing you need to know about your skin is that you have your temple here, and that's why it's always darker over here. So we're going to push that part of our face down. Anywhere we have a dark part of our eye or part of our face, it makes it look like it's further away. And so this side of our face is always further away from this section. So we always like to put a little bit of a darker spot over here, which again, we're going to end up doing that on this side as well and kind of push that down because your nose sits here. So I'm just shading the rest of my skin down here. This is all skin. There's no bone under this part. There's bone here, so you can see where my original line was. So this is all skin, no bone underneath. Right here where your bone is, it's going to start becoming a highlight. This is where your cheekbone sits. This is where your bone is for your eyebrow, and so depending on your lighting, you'll have to figure out if it's darker or lighter underneath. I've got a lot of the main shading done. I'm going to go ahead and throw, there's always a cast shadow. Typically, especially in this photo, you guys can see that the eyelid is casting a shadow on the upper skin, but then the eyelid is also darker here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw another value here. If it ends up blending in, that's okay because our next pencil is going to make it look a little darker. You want to make sure that it's nice and smooth as you go, because if you're not making it smooth now, it's going to look really rough by the next time I put another pencil with it. So next pencil, I'm going to go ahead and grab the HB. Okay. And I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to go ahead and put some of the darker darks in. Notice I haven't really touched the iris. I'm just getting the skin first. You're going to notice it's much, much smoother. Keeping the pencil sharp. I'm not really changing pressure. I'm just adding other details here. The iris part, it's always darker on the rim. It's always darker on the rim. And so a lot of times what I'll do with this HB, since it's a little darker, is I'll go ahead and throw that in here. And then I will lift as I come in. So I'm kind of shading the edge of that iris. And I've already drawn my highlight, so it kind of helps me because now I can be like, oh, I gotta stop there. See how I'm curving my pencil strokes too? Make sure it's super, super smooth when you do that. All right, I'm going to hit the 2B.